Cashiers of Reddit, what was the worst time you blew up on a customer? If you enjoy this video, consider giving it a like and subscribing. At a pawn shop, the lady paid me with a 20 and I gave her change. She flipped up because she knew she'd given me a $100 bill. She screamed, cursed, and called me every name in the book. Just lost her mind. The whole time, she's saying she knew she paid with a $100 bill but she just put one in her wallet earlier. I asked her repeatedly to just check her wallet then, to see if the $100 bill was still there or not. She just kept yelling she didn't need to check, because she knew she'd given it to me. Eventually she checked and all the anger just blew out of her. She was mortified. The $100 bill was there. Not cashier, but now ex-bartender, and this was a while ago, so I may not have everything that's said 100% correct. Right after we closed one Friday or Saturday night I was sent to sweep up a broken glass that happened to be next to a table where a couple of girls were still sat finishing their last drinks. The DJ had just stopped playing music. Bouncers were in the process of asking everyone to leave. A lot of the broken glass happened to be under where one of the girls was sitting. So I politely said, please, can I ask you to move so I can sweep up this broken glass? She gave me a really dirty look, down at her drink, threw her glass on the floor next to her, so I now had twice as much to sweep up, and said you can't make me move anywhere. Get out. We are closed and I already asked you politely. My manager heard, came over and asked what happened. I told him, and he just went okay, you're barred to the girl. It was so satisfying when she tried arguing with him, and he got the bouncers to escort her from the building. I was working at a coffee shop in a busy downtown area. There was a businessman that was notorious for being abusive with our staff. One morning he came in and ordered a coffee and a cranberry scone. We happened to be out of cranberry scones that day, and when I informed him of this, he flew off the handle and started swearing at me. I looked him square in the eye and said, you're a grown man throwing a temper tantrum over a cranberry scone. Sort your life out. I then calmly turned to the next customer. The next day he apologized and was never a problem again. This wasn't me, but I was involved. When I was in high school I worked at a shoe store, the one with that prize wheel from hell. We did this buy one get one half off sale all the time. The way it works is you buy a more expensive pair and you get the cheaper of the two half off. Otherwise we'd lose money. So this woman comes in and buys 2 pair of kid shoes, looks at the receipt and thinks that $50 is too much for her smaller child. So she returns them. She then proceeds to flip out because the difference for the other pair came out of the refund. I called the manager and he came up and she says he's a foster kid. He's not worth a $50 pair of shoes. Stop trying to rob me and give me my effing money. So manager refunded her the entire bill and took both pair of shoes and walked off. We all gave her the silent treatment until she left, angrily. I feel bad for both children and her husband who were just standing there quietly. This woman who used to come into the coffee shop I managed was the real world equivalent of Darla's Umbridge. She was smug, obnoxious and delighted in being a giant pain in the ass. She came in daily and had a ridiculously complicated drink order which she was unnecessarily nitpicky about. She came in one day when our grinder was having issues, which I warned her about. I happened to be on register and not on bar, and so my employee, who was my best employee at the time, made the drink. She took it and left. The next day she came in, and before she even hit the register she announced very rudely in my general direction, "You're making my drink, right?" I switched places with the person on bar in order to make it. As her drink was so wildly complicated, it took several minutes to make, throughout which I was told how terrible her drink had been yesterday, how it had ruined her day, how she'd lost faith in the company, etc. I apologized profusely and offered to comp her drink. That was not good enough. She told me she wanted the person who had made her drink before fired. I lost my temper. I more or less told her that I was sorry that her drink was not up to par the day before, but that I had apologized, offered a free beverage, and had actually warned her we were having an equipment issue the day before, which was the likely culprit, and not my employee. She told me I must have woken up on the wrong side of the bed, and I said no. Actually, you are a giant pain in the ass. Your order is obnoxious, and we bend over backwards to accommodate you daily. She had a whole list of things aside from the crazy drink. It had to be served with a certain number of napkins. Her sleeve had to be facing a specific way, etc. And if that's how you feel, please take your business elsewhere. Coffee Umbridge tut-tutted her way out of my shop in a huff, and I didn't even care if I got in trouble for telling her off. I didn't. I feel so terrible for retail employees whose managers don't have their back and expect them to eat shit from every customer no matter what. I had an epically awesome manager at the local hamburger joint I worked for in college. I didn't have any personal altercations with customers, but I witnessed an amazing one with another employee. Let's call that other employee Chuck. A customer acts like a total dick before and after getting his order. Complains at the register after eating 3/4 of his hamburger, probably trying to scam a free meal. After some back and forth, the exchange went like this. "It's time for you to leave." "Excuse me?" I said, "Get the F out of here. I can't believe this. You can't talk to me like this. I demand to see your manager. You're getting fired for this." Manager comes over. "Hey Chuck, what's going on?" "I just told this a-hole to get the F out of here." Manager says to customer, without any hesitation, "Get the F out of here, a-hole." The look on the guy's face was absolutely priceless as he sheepishly took his food and left. I still smile thinking about it 20 years later. I work at Disney World. One time I had a particularly rude guest, and the end I told them to have a great day, not a magical day. I was a server years ago and this woman, usually a pretty nice lady, comes in and apparently we had messed up her salmon a few days prior, so the manager had given her a free meal card which is good for one single meal. Well, a few days later she comes in with at least 15 people about an hour before we closed, and they all order seafood and steak and wine and her whole party is awful to me and my friend who is another server. One guest even threw his plate on the ground, breaking it and throwing food all over because his steak was overcooked. After all of this, the other server went to take the woman her check, and it was a couple $100, and she whips out the free meal card. The server takes it to the register, comps one of the meals off, and comes back with the new total and the woman loses it. "I have a free meal card. This was one meal for all of us. It should be free." And the server just stiffens up and politely explains that that isn't how it works, and stresses that she had to have known that she couldn't have brought 15 people in here and expected free meals for everyone. The woman stands up and pours her red wine all over my friend, and my friend just goes "What the F" and runs to the back to get the manager. She kept her calm honestly, but the manager flipped and told her to get the hell out and never come back. That was a crazy night. Had a customer come in to do a return on a toilet seat, not to me, but the customer service person. She tells him store policy as we don't do returns on seats out of the plastic. He starts telling her he just took it out to check it and it's not the right shape. She repeats store policy and there's no manager here to override it. It's literally impossible for us to return it. He doesn't like this and starts raising his voice and trying to bully her. She's super shy and quiet, so she kinda just shut down. The other cashier says very loud, "It's dirty. He didn't just take it out. He's a liar." He became incredibly angry. I reached over and hit her light and said, "You're on break. Go upstairs." She protested, but I repeated and she left. He said, "What did that bee say?" I reply, "Don't worry about it. I'll handle it later. We aren't doing your return." He starts to protest again, but I cut him off. "I don't care. I don't care what you did or what you have to say. We aren't doing your return today. You've got two options. Take your toilet seat home and come back tomorrow and talk to a manager, or take your seat and get out of here. Either way, you're leaving here with that seat." He left. Managers became required to be there on weekends, and someone bought me some M&Ms. I had a guy come through my register once wanting to put some stuff on his store credit card. He didn't have the card or any ID, so I couldn't bring him through. Technically I could, but against SOP. He started screaming at me saying that everyone knew him there and that he was a regular. I was at my job for over a year and never saw that man once in my time working there before this incident. I told him no, I couldn't ring him through without the card or ID, but I could hold his stuff at register until he comes back. He proceeded to get more belligerent and in my face, so I told him in an assertive tone, you need to leave, you can't be yelling at staff. He leaves, then comes back an hour later to buy his stuff, but still no ID or card. I proceed to tell him I can't bring him in again, so he starts screaming bloody murder, wanting the RSM to come. Stupid ASM has no spine and tells me to ring the guy through, then goes back to the floor or wherever he was before. As soon as the ASM left, I told the customer to leave and that he wasn't welcome at the store anymore. Never saw him again after that. I was a fragrance vendor at a large chain department store. Think famous Christmas movies. The thing about fragrance vendors is we actually work for the fragrance company and not for the store, so I didn't report to anyone in that building or company I was working with. It was Christmas time, probably around the 23rd, when customers get desperate and crazy, and where employees have been shit on every day since Black Friday, so we just don't care at all anymore. I noticed a man waiting by the fragrance register, though there was no store employee. I asked if I could help him, and he said he had purchased a gift card at another register, but they hadn't given him an envelope to put it in. I said, no problem, let me check if we've got any here. Not technically my job, but I'm nice enough to do it. Lo and behold, we have 0 gift card envelopes. I'm very sorry sir, but it appears that we are out at this register. Other registers might have some. This is ridiculous. I buy a gift card, I should get a envelope to put it in. You people are the biggest idiots I've ever met. Sir, it's the 23rd of December. We are probably out of these envelopes everywhere. I don't even work for big department store chain, so I don't have to listen to you yell at me. I walked off, but I saw him deflate and shuffle off ashamed. If you enjoy these videos, please consider subscribing.